Dear students, I hope all of you worked problems with by using logarithms, and I hope you become thorough with the logarithms now. Today, I would like to start the second chapter in physics syllabus, that is units. Already Vinod sir completed the first chapter, that is physical world, and also RK sir put notes as well as CET questions in the WhatsApp group. So you try to work out those questions. Many students are asking about which book to purchase. Actually, you have to purchase NCERT books. These NCERT books, it is a little bit difficult to follow. Particularly average students and below average students, they cannot follow these NCERT books. But those who wish to get good ranking in JEE or NEET, compulsorily they have to read each and every word in the NCERT book. So the NCERT physics textbook, volume 1, it looks like this. This is prescribed by Pre-University Board. So our Pre-University Board, it actually follows NCERT syllabus only. So actually inside this is NCERT book only, but the cover page, this Pre-University Board emblem will be there. In case if this book is not available, or if you feel difficult to follow this book, then you can go for this Bosco publication, PUC first year Bosco publication. In both books, the basic content is same. In this book, whatever is important for the examination, that much is given. So by following this book, easily you can get through board examination. So you can take one of these two. Next, you have already watched the videos regarding this physical world chapter, first chapter. In that chapter, in the board examination, you can expect only 2 marks. In the very second class itself, I mentioned the weightage of marks and all. And in the notes which is posted in WhatsApp, the different types of questions, different questions from the first chapter are given. So first you read the chapter in the textbook. First you watch the lectures, read the chapter in the textbook, and you understand the things given there. See, high school ge matte PU ge study nalli bala difference irtade. ನೀವು 10th ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಮಗಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೆದಿರ್ತೀರಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ PU ಲೆವೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೈ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಯೋದು ವರ್ಕೌಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಾರ್ದೆ ಬೈ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ನೀವು ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಬಟ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಮೊದಲು. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್ಸನ್ನು ನೀವು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ತೆಗೆದು ಆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ನು ಥರವಾಗಿ ಓದ್ರಿ, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಾರೋ ಆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸು ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ನು ಓದಿರಿ. ಸೊ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸು. ಸೊ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಬಟ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು 100-200 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೀವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಲೆಸನು ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸು ಓದಿದ ನಂತರ ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ನು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಓದಬೇಕು, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವು 4ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟು, 4ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. 4ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟಿಪ್ಯುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಒಂದು 30 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ 30 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸು, 60 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ 1 ಅವರ್ ಅಥವಾ 1 ಅವರ್ 10 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸು, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಏನು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಎ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಡಿ, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸಿ, ಈ ಥರ ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ನ ಒಂದು ಪೇಪರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ಕೊತ ಹೋಗ್ರಿ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟಿಪ್ಯುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೀ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕೀ, ವೆರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ನೀವು ಏನು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ರಿ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂಗೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಆವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಓದಿ ಆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟನ್ನು ನೀವು ಥರೋ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾವು, ಎಷ್ಟು ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾವು ನೋಡಿರಿ. ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾವೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗೋ ಅಂತಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದು ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಲಾರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ರಿ. ನೀವು ಥ್ರೂ ಔಟ್ ದ 2 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ನೀವು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಕೋರಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್, ಇನ್ ಅದರ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಟಜಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಸೊ PU ಲೆವೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಡಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆನ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಅದರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ವಂತ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು 1000 ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಗಂತ ಮೊದಲು 1000 ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ನೀವು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೀರಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಎಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ನೀವು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ದ ಮೋರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಯು ವರ್ಕ್ ಔಟ್, ಯು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಥರೋ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಬೈ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಎನಿ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮಷ್ಟು ನೀವೇ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಆ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋದೆ, ಇದರಿಂದ ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾವ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಓದಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ನ ವರ್ಕೌಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಸಕ್ಸೀಡ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಡೂ. ಸೊ ಆ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸು, ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸು, ಬಯಾಲಜಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ PU ಲೆವೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ವಂತ ಓದೋದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಯು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. You follow our guidelines and you practice the things like this. Okay. So today I will start this first chapter, that is units and measurements. In the study of physics you come across many physical quantities. So physical quantity, means anything which is measurable, that is called as a physical quantity. Example, length you can measure, mass, time, speed, force, work. So these are all physical quantities. Quantities which cannot be measured, they cannot be called as physical quantity. For example, human emotions. If you are happy, how happy you are, it cannot be measured. How sad you are, it cannot be measured. Understand? Similarly, beauty of a flower, how beautiful it is, you can't measure. So such things which cannot be measured, they cannot be called as physical quantities. So quantities which are measurable, they are called as physical quantities. And measurable means they are compared with some standard which is acceptable everywhere in the world. And that standard of reference with which a physical quantity is measured, it is called unit. See, measuring means the given quantity is compared with a known one. Say for example, this is an object. What is its length? Means what we do? We take a scale and we measure it like this. So what is this scale? It is a measuring instrument. Scale measures the length in meter or centimeter or millimeter. So what is this meter? It is a standard of reference to measure the length, which is called unit. So meter is unit of length. So you are comparing the length of this object with this standard unit, that is meter. So like this, this unit means it is a standard of reference with which a physical quantity is measured. So, unit is nothing but a standard of reference in which a physical quantity is measured. Next, measurement of any physical quantity involves two statements. Any measurement has two statements. One is the magnitude, another one is this unit. So, this measurement of physical quantity, say x, it has two statements. One is magnitude, another one is unit. Say length of this object is 10 centimeter. So length is the physical quantity. Length of the object is the physical quantity. When I measure this physical quantity, it is 10 centimeter. This 10 is called magnitude. Meter is called unit. So here, the measurement of a physical quantity has some magnitude and another one is unit. See, length, as you know, can be expressed in meter, centimeter, millimeter, like the different units. See, the length of this object, this measurement of this physical quantity is constant. When I use a smaller unit, the magnitude becomes larger. If I use a larger unit, this magnitude becomes smaller. So, this n is inversely proportional to u. Therefore, this nu is equal to a constant. Therefore, n1 u1 is equal to n2 u2. Here, you take this example. The length of this object is 10 centimeter. 10 centimeter. I can write this 10 centimeter into meter like this, 0.1 meter. I can also write this 10 centimeter into 100 millimeter. See, length of this object is same. X is, L is same. But when I take different units of length, the magnitude differs. When I use larger unit meter, the magnitude is smaller. When I use a smaller unit of length millimeter, the magnitude is larger. So the magnitude and unit, they are inversely proportional. Therefore, N1 U1 is equal to N2 U2. So by using this relation, you can convert one unit to another unit. ಈ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿನೂ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಟಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? 5 ಸೆಂಟಿಮೀಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಮೀಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದರೆ, you take one more example here. 5 centimeter is n meter. 5 centimeter is equal to how many meter? If you have a question like this, how many meter is equal to 5 centimeter? If you have a question like this, then you can use this relation. N1 is 5, this unit is centimeter. N2 is n, this unit is meter. So you have to find the value of this n. So this n is equal to 5 centimeter divided by meter. So this is 5 centimeter. You know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. So this centimeter cancels. 5 by 100 is 0.05. N is equal to 0.05. Therefore 5 centimeter is equal to 0.05 meter. Like this, whenever a physical quantity in one unit is to be converted into some other unit, you can use this formula. So measurement of a physical quantity has two factors. One is the unit, another one is the magnitude. That means the number of times the unit is contained in measuring this physical quantity. Magnitude is nothing but number of times unit is contained in measuring a physical quantity. That means here length is 10 centimeter, means 10 centimeter is a unit. That unit 10 centimeter is involved 10 times in measuring this length, like that. So this is about measurement of a physical quantity. Next, you have two types of physical quantities. One is called fundamental quantity. Fundamental quantities. Physical quantities which are independent or basic physical quantities, they are called fundamental quantities. Independent. So independent or basic physical quantities, they are called fundamental quantities. Example: length, mass, time. See, these physical quantities, they do not depend on any other quantities, they are independent. So these independent physical quantities, they are called fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities. Next, physical quantities which depend on fundamental quantities, they are called derived quantities. So derived quantities means they depend on fundamental quantities. Example, you take a velocity. We write velocity as displacement divided by time. This displacement is measured in terms of length by time. So this physical quantity, it depends on these two fundamental quantities, length divided by time. Since this depends on these two fundamental quantities, this is called as a derived quantity. Here, they do not depend on any other quantities. That's why they are independent or fundamental. Here, these things, some physical quantities, they depend on fundamental quantities. Such quantities are called derived quantities. Similarly, acceleration. This acceleration is velocity divided by time. Velocity divided by time. That means it is length divided by time square. Length divided by time square. Similarly, you take force. Force is mass into acceleration. So like this, you have fundamental quantities as well as derived quantities. Next, units of these fundamental quantities, they are called fundamental units. Say, length, the unit is meter. Mass, the unit is kg. Time, the unit is second. So meter, kg, second. Similarly, the units of these derived quantities, they are called derived units. Units of derived quantities, they are called derived units. See, the unit of velocity is meter per second. Meter per second. So meter per second, it is a derived unit for velocity. Meter, it is the fundamental unit of length, like that. Similarly, if I take acceleration, the derived unit is meter per seconds. See, based on which fundamental quantities the given derived quantity depend, you can write the corresponding derived unit. ಒಂದು ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ನೋಡಿ ನೀವು ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ನು ಬರಿಬೋದು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಕ್ಸಲರೇಷನ್. Similarly, if I take force, the derived unit is kg meter per second square. Derived unit is kg meter per second square. See, this derived unit kg meter per second square, it is also written as Newton, symbolically represented as N, capital N. Some derived units, they are named after scientists. So, the derived unit of force, instead of writing kg meter per second square, we simply write as Newton. So, you have fundamental quantities and derived quantities, correspondingly fundamental units and derived units. Before 1971, people living in different regions of the world, they used to follow different system of units, like a CGS system, FPS system, MKS system, like that. People used to follow different units in different regions of the world. The CGS system, it stands for centimeter gram second. So in CGS system, length is measured in centimeter, mass in gram, time in second. In FPS system, length is measured in foot, mass is measured in pound, time is measured in second. In MKS system, this length is measured in meter, this time is measured in, mass is measured in kg, time is measured in second. So, before 1971, people used to follow different systems of units. So, with the development of technology, when people easily started moving from one place to another place, it becomes difficult to follow these units. Therefore, in the year 1971, at the convention, International Bureau of Standards, at the convention held in Paris, all countries, they came to an agreement that throughout the world the same system of units must be followed. The same system of units must be followed. And they developed a new system of units called SI system. So from 1971 onwards, throughout the world, the same system of units are followed. That is SI system. Understand? So in this SI system, you have 7 fundamental quantities. See, in mechanics, all physical quantities can be expressed in terms of length, mass and time. But when it comes to other branches like heat, light, when it comes to other branches, in order to express the other physical quantities, totally there are 7 fundamental quantities in SI system. So fundamental quantities: unit, symbol. You have to remember this table. The first one, length. It is measured in meter. Symbol is m. The second one, mass, measured in kilogram, symbolically written as kg. Time, measured in second, symbolically represented as S. Fourth one, electric current. It is measured in ampere, symbolically represented as A. Fifth one, temperature. Measured in Kelvin, represented as capital K. And then luminous intensity. It is measured in candela, represented as CD. The last one, amount of substance. That is a mole. So these are the 7 fundamental quantities in SI system. Actually, these 3 fundamental quantities are sufficient to express all physical quantities in mechanics. So to incorporate the other physical quantities also, totally 7 fundamental quantities are there in SI system. So these are the units. See, a unit, it must be easily reproducible, it must be internationally acceptable, and it is available, it must be available everywhere. So taking these things into consideration, here these units are given for these fundamental quantities. Next, we can define these units. Meter. What is a meter? 1 meter means it is the distance travelled by light in a time equal to 1 divided by 3 into 10 to the power of 8 second. See, speed of light is 3 in 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. That means in 1 second light travels this much of distance. Therefore, 1 meter means it is the distance travelled by light in a time equal to 1 by 3 in 10 to the power of 8 second. So here, in a time equal to 1 divided by 3 in 10 to the power of 8 second, this distance travelled by light, it becomes equal to 1 meter. So the unit of length meter, it is expressed in terms of speed of light. 1 meter is the distance travelled by light in a time equal to 1 by 3 in 10 to the power of 8 second. Next, this 1 kg. 1 kg, it is the mass of a platinum iridium cylinder. It is the mass of a platinum iridium cylinder kept at the International Bureau of Standards. It is a museum which is there at a place called Serres in France. So in that museum, there is a platinum iridium cylinder made of 90% of platinum and 10% of iridium, whose length equal to radius, whose diameter equal to radius, which is equal to 3.9 centimeter. There is a platinum iridium cylinder in the International Bureau of Standards whose length is equal to diameter. The mass of this cylinder is called as 1 kg. So this is the definition of 1 kg as per your textbook. But recently this definition has been changed. That a new definition, it has not been given so far. So you just remember this definition only. But recently this has been changed. So it is the mass of a platinum iridium cylinder kept at International Bureau of Standards. Next, second. 1 second. This 1 second is nothing but it is the time of (9.192 in 10 to the power of 9) cycles of cesium-133 radiation between 2 hyperfine lines in the ground state. So when the cesium atom is in the ground state, between 2 hyperfine lines, it emits certain frequency of radiation. So this many number of cycles of that cesium-133 radiation is called as 1 second. So this is the definition of second. Similarly, 1 ampere. In the second year PUC, you will come to know that between two conductors carrying current, there will be a force of attraction like this. In the second year PUC, you will come to know that. So when two conductors are carrying current in the same direction, there will be a force between them. So here, when two conductors carrying current separated by one distance in air, if there exists a force per unit length of 2 × 10 to the power of -7 per Newton per meter, then the current in each conductor is said to be 1 ampere. If there exists a force of 2 × 10 to the power of -7 Newton per meter length between two conductors carrying current in air separated by 1 meter, then the strength of current in each conductor is said to be 1 ampere. ಸೊ ಏರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಯಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ನು 1 ಮೀಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಇವೆರಡರ ನಡುವೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆವಾಗ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟು 1 ಆಂಪಿಯರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಏರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆರಡು 1 ಮೀಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಇವೆರಡರ ನಡುವೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆವಾಗ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ 1 ಆಂಪಿಯರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ Kelvin. Kelvin is the unit of temperature. This is also called as absolute temperature. So 1 Kelvin is nothing but 1 divided by 273.16 part of triple point of water temperature. Triple point. In physics and also in chemistry, you come across these phase diagrams. ಫೇಸ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಟ್ರಿಪಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಟ್ರಿಪಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಎಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ 3 phases: ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಫೇಸ್, ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸಿಯಸ್ ಫೇಸ್. ಸೊ 1 divided by 173.16 part of triple point temperature of water, it is called as 1 Kelvin. Next, 1 candela. 1 candela is nothing but it is the radiation intensity of 1 divided by 6/80th watt per steradian of 540 into 10 to the power of 12 hertz frequency. See, electromagnetic radiation of this particular frequency, actually this frequency lies in visible region. It lies in yellow region, almost yellow region. So when a light source is emitting this particular frequency, 1 divided by 6/83rd watt per steradian of that light radiation becomes 1 candela. ಒಂದು ಲೈಟ್ ಸೋರ್ಸು ಲೈಟ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿನ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ 1 divided by 683rd watt per steradian of radiation intensity of this particular frequency is called as 1 candela. The last one, mole. Mole is the unit of amount of substance. See, 1 mole is that amount of substance which contains same number of units as contained by 12 grams of carbon-12. Here 1 mole is that amount of substance which contains the same number of units as contained by 12 grams of carbon-12. 12 grams of carbon-12 ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ? ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್. ಕಾರ್ಬನ್-12 ಕೇಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅದು. ಸೊ 12 ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್-12ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ರಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇರೋ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ನು 1 ಮೋಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್? ಸೊ the substance which contains the same number of elements as contained by 12 grams of carbon-12, it is called 1 mole. See, amount of substance means it is not mass. Mass is different. Amount of matter contained by a body is called its mass. Whereas amount of substance means it is the number of elements in relation with carbon 12. So this is how these units have come. As far as the board examination is concerned, these definitions are not required. In the board examination, you won't be asked what is kg, what is ampere, what is Kelvin, what is candela. That question, the step of questions won't be asked. But however, from the competitive examination point of view, you need to remember these definitions. ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಇದರ ಮೇಲೂ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಸ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಸ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಲಾ ಅಂತ ಬರಿತೀರಿ. ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಲಾ ಅಥವಾ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಲಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ವಿಚ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್, ವಿಚ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅವಾಗ ಏನು ಬರಬೇಕು ನೀವು? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ cesium 133 ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನಿಂದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ cesium 133 ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಟಮ್ 9.192 × 10⁹ cycles, time taken for 1.192 × 10⁹ cycles is called 1 second. So which element is used in the unit of time means it is cesium 133. So those type of questions you can expect in competitive examinations. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ NCERT ಬುಕ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎವ್ರಿ ನೂಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಓದಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಓದ್ಬೋದು. ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಇವೇನು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್. ಯೂನಿಟ್ ನೀವು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಬರಿಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಿಂಬಾಲಿಕಲಿ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. In the SI system, in addition to these fundamental quantities, there are two supplementary quantities. Supplementary quantities, unit, symbol. So plane angle, this plane angle is measured in radian, symbol is rad. The second one is solid angle. This solid angle is measured in steradian, symbolically written as SR. See, radian means it is the angle subtended at a point in a plane by an arc whose length is equal to radius. I repeat, here this is an arc. Yes. And this is the point. So when this arc length is equal to radius, when S is equal to R, this is equal to 1 radian. Earlier in the mathematical relations, I told you that this angle is equal to arc length divided by radius. This angle theta, it is equal to arc length divided by radius. When the arc length becomes equal to radius, this angle becomes equal to 1 radian. Understand? If I consider this total arc, which is a circle of radius r, if I take an arc which is in the form of a circle, then what is the arc length? It becomes 2 pi r. ಇದು ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ರೇಡಿಯನ್. ಇದು ಈ ಆರ್ಕ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ರೇಡಿಯಸ್ಗೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆದರೆ ಈ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ 1 ರೇಡಿಯನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾನು ಈ ಆರ್ಕ್ನು ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ಆರ್ಕ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 2πr ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೇಡಿಯಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ r ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು 2π ರೇಡಿಯನ್ ಅಂತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಎಟ್ ಎನಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ದಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 360 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ 2π ರೇಡಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರೋದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಎ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಪ್ಲೇನ್, ದಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ ಸಬ್ಟೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಎಟ್ ಎ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 2π ರೇಡಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ this is how radian is defined. Similarly, solid angle, which is a steradian. See, solid angle is a three-dimensional angle. It is a three-dimensional angle. You imagine a sphere. This is a sphere, not a circle, sphere. On the surface of a sphere, you draw a circle of area A, which is equal to pi r square, where r is this radius. Now, you cut this ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ಈ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ನು ಈ ರೇಡಿಯಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತ ಈ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಕಡೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದು ಇದನ್ನು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಪೀಸ್ ತೆಗಿರಿ, ಹೊರಗೆ ತೆಗೀರಿ. ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕೋನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಐ ಟೇಕ್ ಔಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕೋನ್. ಫಾರ್ ದ ಬೇಸ್ ದ ಏರಿಯಾ ಈಸ್ pi r square, and let this radius be r, then this angle is called as solid angle. The angle subtended at the vertex of a cone, it is a solid angle. ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಕೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕೋನ್ಗೆ ವರ್ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಏನು ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್. ದೆನ್ ಹೌ ದಿಸ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 1 steradian. 1 steradian means it is the solid angle subtended at the vertex of a cone by an area which is equal to square of this radius. So, when A becomes equal to r square, the solid angle becomes equal to 1 steradian. So when this area is equal to square of this radius, when this area is equal to square of this radius, then this angle subtended becomes equal to 1 steradian. So 1 steradian is the solid angle subtended at the vertex of a cone by an area equal to square of the radius. To understand this, see, this is a cone. This is a cone. This three-dimensional angle, this is called solid angle. This three-dimensional angle is called a solid angle. So this is the base of the cone. For this base there is some area like this. This area divided by square of this radius, that will give you solid angle. So when this area becomes equal to square of radius, then it becomes 1 steradian or 1 SR, written like this. Instead of considering this area, if I consider total surface area of this sphere, instead of considering this area A, if I consider total surface area of sphere, then this A becomes equal to total surface area of the sphere is 4 pi r square. So 4 pi r square divided by r square means it becomes 4 steradian. So at any point in space, what is the solid angle? It becomes 4 pi steradian. Circle nalli, at any point in a plane, the total angle is 2 pi radian, because radian is the SI unit. I already told you, degree is not the unit of angle. Degree is not the SI unit of angle. Radian is the SI unit of plane angle. So at this point, this total angle is 2 pi radian in a plane. In a same way, if I consider a space, if I consider a point in space, the total solid angle around this point will be 4 pi steradian. 4 pi steradian henge barutundre because of this definition. Area of the base of the cone divided by square of this radius will give you the solid angle. When A becomes equal to r square, it becomes 1 steradian. So if I consider total surface area of the sphere, it becomes 4 pi r square. Therefore, the total solid angle subtended at the center of a sphere, total solid angle subtended at the center of a sphere or at any point in space, it becomes equal to 4 pi steradian. So exam nalli textbook nalli bare definitions irtavu. Radian andre eno, steradian andre eno definitions irtavu. ಇದನ್ನು ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮಷ್ಟು ನೀವೇ ಡೆರಿವೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಟೋಟಲ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ 4 pi steradian. ಹೆಂಗ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬುಕ್. ಸೊ ಬುಕ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೆರಿಡಿಯನ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ 4 pi steradian ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್. ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ವೋಂಟ್ ಬಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬುಕ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್ ಸಡನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಯೋರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಸೊ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದಾಗ, ನೀವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದಾಗ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮಷ್ಟು ನೀವೇ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ. ಅವೇ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗೋದು, ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ these are the two supplementary quantities in SI system. So in the SI system there are 7 fundamental quantities and 2 supplementary quantities. So from 1971 onwards, throughout the world, all physical quantities, they will be expressed in terms of SI system only. Next, this SI system, it is accepted internationally because it is a rational system. Rational means one physical quantity has got only one unit. One physical quantity ಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So it is a rational system. Second one, it is coherent. Coherent means you can derive unit of any physical quantity in terms of fundamental quantities. ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್ನು ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸಿಂದ ಡೆರಿವೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಎ ಕೋಹರೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಲೆಂಗ್ತು ಟೈಮು ದೇ ಆರ್ ಮೆಜರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಯೂನಿಟ್. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಮೀಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೆಂಗ್ತ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, derived units can be obtained from fundamental units. That's why it is called coherent system. Next, this is also called as a metric system. Because unit from one system to another system can be obtained by using multiples of 10. For example, 10 centimeter means 1 meter. 1 meter is equal to 1000 millimeter, ಅಥವಾ 10 to the power of 3 mm. So like that, one unit is related to another unit in terms of multiples of 10. That's why it is called metric system. So, you just understand what are these SI units. In the next class, I will tell you how to write these units.